Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Nakwam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another Monday Night Fire. Giving, of course, all honor and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach Malak Yahushua. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Yahushua. A hearty Shalom to you, mighty men that go out there and labor and do the work of the Most High, presenting your body as a living sacrifice, enduring all things for the elect's sake, pushing this truth and magnifying the ministry. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Akwaf out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive, being diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to everybody tuning in live. Right, Shalom, crazy natural princess, Kyoko Banyamyan, Solomon McFadden, Amadia Yasha'Allah, Yakar Ibad, and Smile, Divash Branch, and Edomite, Rapid Fire, right? Mox Nix, Amaziah Yahawada, Shalom, Ben Zion, Gabar Shalamoth, Mattathias Judah, from Egypt to Israel, Demetrius Terry, Hollow Boy, I don't know, Snip 15, Silakia King, Judah Mania, Vernon Brody, and everybody else tuning in, right? Everybody else that's tuning in and that will tune in. It's a Monday Night Fire, man. Thanks killing and the atrocities of the so-called white man. Thanks killing, not Thanksgiving, not a day for the family to get together and just sit around and talk. Not a day for you to kick your feet up and watch the football game with the Lions and the damn Packers and the Cowboys, and to unbuckle your belt and eat cranberry sauce and eat, drink, and be merry. That's not the day that we're talking about, man. We're not talking about the day when your auntie and your great grandmother and Uncle Leroy and your pastor makes the stuffing and your great grandmother carves the turkey and the father maybe he wants to deep fry the turkey this year. And the cousin's doing her famous cranberry sauce. That's not the day we're talking about. We're not talking about the day that 99% of drunk inhabitants of the earth and Babylonians look forward to. We're talking about Thanksgiving, right? Not Thanksgiving, thanks killing, thanks stealing, thanks raping, thanks slavery, thanks robbery, right? That all manner of damn evil that has been done by the so-called white man, which the Bible calls the Edomites, right? The Edomites. Now, the title says so-called white man, but biblically, they're the Edomites, right? And we're going to go into the true account of what actually happened. Now, the world, let's go to the book. Let's get this precept real quick, right? I want to get this classic because the world, we have been indoctrinated, raised from the youth up with the understanding from 6 years old, 5 years old, you dressing up like pilgrims. And I remember we had to do that. We had to dress up like the pilgrims, right? You had to draw the turkey with your hand, and then you draw the little turkey, and then you put stuff on it, and then your mind, they get you drunk. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving, man. We're not doing it. We as a body, the entire body is holding a fast, man. And you're more than welcome to join us on that. You're more than welcome, men and women and children, whoever the nation of Israel, you're more than welcome to join WFI on the fast, man. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, right? Let's go to the classic, Ecclesiasticus. Actually, first I want to go to Isaiah 10:1. Right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Right, this is Isaiah chapter 10 and 1, and let's deal with it. Right, let's actually pull it up. Isaiah chapter 10 and 1. Now I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad thinking about it. Right, and I'm getting mad talking about it, but that's okay, because Yahweh Shah is going to be the advocate, right, and recompense all of the pain and all of the torture that these devils put us through. Right? So let's go to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 10 and 1. Let's deal with it. Right? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 10 and 1. It reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. So the Most High said, woe unto them, meaning death and destruction to them that decree unrighteous decrees. When you make a decree, what are you doing? You are establishing something with your words. You are saying this ordinance or this statute or this law is now in effect. So the Most High said death and destruction unto them. Now to them in this context is speaking about the so-called white man, right? Which the Lord calls the Assyrian on a spiritual level many times in the book of Isaiah and other times throughout the scriptures as well. And they have decreed a heinous decree and have set up the last Thursday of the so-called month of November as a day of eating, drinking, being merry, all types of folly. I know certain people in the world, they used to eat so much till they throw up. You know, and then not only that, nobody dives into the history behind it. And on top of that, while you're celebrating the slaughter, and we're going to go into the details of this thing, while you're celebrating the slaughter, slavery, lies, and deception that our people have to deal with, you're sitting around on the other side of your mind eating a damn turkey. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. And you should be mad. You should be mad on this day, man. These are your forefathers. These are your ancestors. These are your foremothers that were raped, robbed. Now you got some people, well, what is he talking about? I thought Thanksgiving, well, we're going to show you may not know. And we're not going to blame you. We're not going to be mad. We're not going to get upset if you don't really know the ins and outs. But that's the purpose of this lesson, to actually go into the details and the true atrocities of the so-called white man. Right? Let's read on. Let's finish this. And that right grievousness which they have prescribed. And it's a grievous, very grievous decree, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Let's go on. All right, let's get another precept on this. Let's go to Job chapter 12. Right, let's go to the book of Job, the 12th chapter. We're going to deal with it. Right, and we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go into this history and go into the details of it. And most high willing, we're not going to leave no stone unturned. Right? Most high willing, we're not going to leave no stone unturned. And we're going to kind of get into this thing. Right? This is a Job chapter 12 and verse, I'll start at 5. He that is ready to slip with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure, into whose hand the Most High bringeth abundantly. So the Lord said the tabernacles of robbers prosper. The robbers is speaking about Esau. Their tabernacles are their dwelling places. Rather, that's America. A tabernacle is an ancient tent, right? So you have America, you have England, you have France, you have Germany, you have Canada. These are the tabernacles of the robbers, the thieves, the liars. And their tabernacle is prospering off of the slaughter and the rape and the lies and the deception and the killing of the children of Israel. A lot of brothers, you dissociate yourself with Gad, Reuben, and the rest of the northern kingdom. You say, well, those aren't my people. That's their problem. It is what it is. That's their thing. Not understanding that Gad, Reuben, Asher, Ephraim, Manasseh, etc., those are also Israelites. And y'all have the same forefather, and those are your brothers. So you have more of a reason to be upset. Right? It reads, the tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke the Most High are secure. And it seems like the so-called white man, he's secure. Seems like he's prospering. Right? He's going to eat his carved turkey. He's going to kick his feet up and drink a cold one. Then they're going to go tomorrow morning, early up in the morning, and get in line for Black Friday. You know? But we're going to show you the Most High got his number. His days are numbered. I don't know if anybody told you, but you're living in the end of the world. The so-called white man system is crumbling. All of his wicked ordinances he set up, his lies, his idolatry, his false religions, his so-called holidays, which are hella days, all of his deception, the Most High keeping tabs on him. And he's breaking his kingdom down. So this society is crumbling due to the wickedness that they have been doing from the time of their inception. Right? It may seem like they're secure. It seems like they're prospering, but the Most High hasn't figured out. Right? It says, into whose hand the Most High bringeth abundantly. And I'll say this. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you're going off. You're going off. You got brothers saying, well, it's not that bad. Show me where eating turkey is a sin. You got brothers saying, show me where eating mac and cheese is a sin. Show me where eating greens and cranberry sauce is a sin. That's what brothers are telling me. Right? We telling brothers we're going to do the video. You got brothers saying, well, show me it's going off that I can't eat turkey. Right? Show me it's going off that I can't have stuffing. And glaze this and glaze that. So a lot of brothers, they're not really in this thing. A lot of brothers, your mind not right. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation. And like I said, we're going to go into this history. Right? We're going to go into it. Right? We're going to go into this thing. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 2, and verse, I'll start at 20. This Revelation 2 and 20. It reads, I'll start at 19. I know thy works and charity and service and faith and thy patience and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Right? Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach. Slocky, bear with me 1 second. Okay, Khan. To teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. And when you're eating this food on this day, it's sacrificed unto idols. You have an entire feast that's set up, and we're going to go into it. Each portion of this plate, your turkey, your stuffing, your so-called sweet potatoes or yams, whatever you call them. All of these things, cranberry sauce, they're symbolic for different things. And it's food sacrificed to the spiritual demon Satan. Because where in the law did the Most High give us Thanksgiving? When did the Most High give us Thanksgiving or Christmas? When did the Lord give the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, which are the biblical Israelites, according to Most High and according to prophecy, ancient manuscripts, archaeology, ancient anthropology, and through the Holy Spirit, when did the Most High give us as a nation of people a day called Thanksgiving? When did the Lord give us Christmas? When did the Most High give us New Year's? When did the Heavenly Father give us birthdays? When did the Heavenly Father give us Easter? When did the Most High give us Columbus Day and Flag Day and St. Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and Arbor Day and all of these damn wicked days? Show me in the Bible when the Most High said, now it's time to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're going to find out that that's not in the Bible. And you're following the ways of your oppressor. And now you're eating things that are sacrificed unto idols. Reading on. But you got Jake saying, well, I'll just eat the leftovers. We're not eating no leftovers. You got Jake waiting till the sun go down. Here you have Thanksgiving, so-called Thursday, right? You got Jake waiting Friday sundown to eat it. Or you got brothers saying, well, I just want to, I just want to gather with the family. And don't let your family seduce you, man. Right? Let's go to Micah chapter 7. Let me make a quick point real quick before we get into this history. Right? Don't let your family seduce you. They're going to make that Thanksgiving group chat and try to put you in there. You better cut them up. Don't let them make you feel bad for not coming. Oh, you don't love us anymore. You're not the same. All you do is read that book. You don't call your grandmother and check on her on Thanksgiving. You don't want to eat the cranberry sauce your auntie Loretta made. Oh, you're not the same anymore. Don't let them make you feel bad for keeping the Most High's commandments. Because it's not them, it's Satan on them tempting you to make you go back into the world. This is the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 5. Don't let your family make you feel bad. When you first come in this truth, it might be kind of hard at first. You like, I don't want to upset my mother. I don't want to upset my uncle. But the more you in this thing, that stuff becomes easier to bypass. And you become hardened in this thing. And you become desensitized. And you become numb to certain things. But you brothers, don't get weak in this thing, man. Satan is going to hop on your family to put you in that group chat and say, well, you're not the same anymore. Why don't you just come and just get a to-go plate? This is Micah 7 and 5. Trust ye not in a friend, put ye not confidence in a God. Keep the doors of thy mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. For the son dishonoreth the father, and the daughter riseth up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own house. So around this time, your enemies are going to be the people in your house, man. You're going to be sitting in your house and they're going to be downstairs cooking. And you got to make a decision. Do I want to go down there and eat? Or do I want to serve the Most High? And they're going to be calling you. You're going to hear them laughing downstairs. Right? You're going to hear them cracking jokes, talking about you. And you're going to be tempted to want to go down there and defend yourself or eat that plate or just try it. Try that sweet potato pie. Those are now your enemies. See that? When it comes to serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and when it comes to being in the world, you have to make a decision. Everybody else is your enemy, and everybody in this truth is your brother and your sister. And you got to look at it like that. And the sooner you look at it like that, the better you'll be in this thing. Right? The better off you'll be, man. You can't look at, oh, that's just my, no, that's your enemy now. Now, that doesn't mean destroy them and throw curses on them. Due to you being in this truth, you're going to naturally have a division due to the Holy Spirit. And the spirit of righteousness, like the Lord said in Proverbs, let's get this. I believe that's Proverbs 29 and 27. The spirit of righteousness is going to be an abomination to the spirit of wickedness. Right? This Proverbs chapter 29 and 27. An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked. So if you're an unjust man, Slacky, you're going to be an abomination to the just. Meaning what? You keeping the commandments and you being diligent and you being on fire and you keeping the holy days, you're going to be despised in the eyes of the wicked. They're not going to like that. Something about you they just don't like. Is it the fringes? Is it the beard? No, it's your spirit. And something about them, you just can't be around them. That's what this is saying. And you're going to naturally, separate from one another. But let me add Yaradan in there. Right? Yaradan, I'm about to add you in there. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yahabashim Shabbat.
Yahabashim.
Khan, so you know what it
can you
is.
Hear me?
Khan, I can hear you, King.
Khan.
We going into it. We telling them, don't let your family. We're gonna pull it back up on the screen. Don't let your family seduce you on this day. Don't get weak, because they're gonna. And I want to get this precept too. Right? Let me get this real quick. And we pull this up a lot. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. Don't let your family make you get weak in this thing. And we're going to go into all of the details of Thanksgiving. We're going to go into the ancient tribes that were there. We're going to go into the diseases that were brought. We're going to show you that they actually went into slavery. We're going to dive into this thing and turn your world upside down. Now, a lot of you brothers, you already know about this, but you got people that come into this truth every day. So it may be a refresher, or it may be something that you may not have known. So this is St. Matthew chapter 16 and 21. You got to mute your background, Baba Kashah. You got something in the background. This St. Matthew 16 and 21. From that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and be raised again a third day. Right? He told them about the prophecies that will have to come to pass and he will have to be killed. But check this out. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. So Peter said, Lord, you don't have to worry about being crucified. Don't worry about dying on the cross. Don't worry about fulfilling the prophecies. You don't really have to die. You don't really have to go through that if you don't want to. Be it far from thee. You can escape that. See that? Now, Peter's not an ordinary guy. Peter is Yahushua's right-hand man. Peter's not just a nigga in the world, man. So now you're going to find out that this is Satan hopping on Peter. Because if anybody can influence Yahushua to make him not do the will of the Father, it's going to be the people closest to you. It's not going to be no nigga in the streets. You're not going to listen to a dude at the bus stop saying, just smoke this weed. You can be like, man, I don't even know you. You're not going to listen to no random alcoholic at 3 a.m. and say, come over here and drink with me. But if it's your best friend, if it's your mother, if it's your brother, your favorite cousin, now you're more inclined to be seduced by the words that are coming out of his mouth. So Satan is going to hop on the people closest to you to make you feel bad and make you not want to do the will of the Most High. And they'll actually rebuke you. What do you mean you don't celebrate Thanksgiving? It's a family day. It's a family get-together. You're not right. You're not the same. And if you're weak, you're going to fall for that. If you're weak and you don't recognize Satan that's going to be hopping on your auntie and your great-grandmother and your nephew and your niece, if you're weak, you're going to fall for that. But if you're spiritually minded, you're going to do what Yahushua said and did. And this is what Yahushua did. Matthew 16 and 23. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. See that? He said, get thee behind me, Satan. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Yeah, you're going to look crazy in the eyes of the world, What do you mean I'm Satan? You're nuts. You're a religious fanatic. They're going to say all types of stuff. You're an extremist. You're crazy. He called me Satan. Your aunt is going to do this. Your grandmother, she's going to start crying. You know, all hell is going to break loose. Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense to me. If somebody called me on Thanksgiving, I'm going to tell them that straight up. If they say, well, which they don't do that anyway, because they already know, you know, they already know how, you know, they already know what it is. I'll just put it like that. But if Satan hop on them, hey, if Satan hop on me and try to get Yaradon to do it, Yaradon's going to tell me, hey, get thee behind me, Satan. If a spirit hop on Yaradon and say, hey, look, I got some turkey, hey, we're going to get on him. Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thou savorest the things that be of, savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. And that's an easy way to recognize Satan. Satan is always going to make you do carnal things. Satan is not going to make you read 10 chapters when you're tired. Satan is not going to make you go on a fast when you got demons on you. Satan is not going to make you not deal with whores and harlots. But Satan will make you do what? Do the things that be of men. You see that? Y'all you got a precept? If not, I got another one real quick.
I was gonna say my grandmother was saying, just come over, please. And my granddad said, I'm making a big old meal. You sure you can't come over, boy? I said, nah. I said just like that. I said, nah, I'm good. I said just like that, nah, I'm good. Now, you know, was I going to bring out 1,000 precepts and kind of go into the history? They, you know, they're up in their age. So one, you know, they don't want to hear that. And two, that's too much for them. And three, they probably wouldn't even listen. So I said, no, I'm good. He said, not even for a minute. I said, no. And then he got sad. And then we hung up. So, you know, it's the truth over everything. We don't give a damn, you know, if it's your niece, if it's your great-great-grandparents, you know, of course, you still got to reverence and, you know, honor them according to the commandments, but in righteousness. So when he asks you, do you want to participate in the wicked holidays? You know, you can't use that Exodus 20th chapter and say, I got to honor my parents.
Right.
No, brother.
Right.
You can't do that. Stop pulling Sirach the 3rd chapter to justify wickedness. Because when you read in Sirach the 3rd chapter, it tells you how to honor your parents and how you'll be rewarded for doing what they say and pretty much, you know, keeping the commandments. But Thanksgiving is not keeping the commandments, right? Drizzling a little oil with, what do they got? That thing they squeeze over the oil to make it glisten?
What, like some glaze?
Yeah, the glaze. They got the little brush. That's not keeping the commandments, you know? So Israel, you got to do better. You got to do better. You know, stop making them make you feel bad. Oh man, I feel kind of bad. They're gonna eat all alone. So what? So what? You know. So you got it.
And I want to bring this out to this Matthew chapter 27. It's still dealing with Satan. Matthew chapter 27 and 37. It reads, and set up over his head his accusation written, this is Yahushua, the King of the Jews. Then were there 2 thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads and saying, thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. And that's Satan hopping on them, huh? This is another temptation. Because now, if Yahushua was weak, he'll say, I'm going to prove them wrong. I am the Son of God. You remember my miracles, and he'll get off the cross. And then, guess what? There would be no resurrection. There would be no truth. And prophecy in the scripture will be broken. But you got to be able to recognize this. Right? It reads, likewise, also the chief priest mocking him with the scribes and elders said, he saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him come now down from, let him come It's like, let him now come down from the cross and we will believe him. Now that's tempting, man. Let's say you the best you the fastest man in the world, right? And you just sitting down, right? You're sitting on the bleachers, right? Your coach told you not to run anymore to the championship game. Now you got these guys coming up. You ain't the fastest, man. Right? We know you ain't really that fast. Man, if you was really that fast, and you're a racist right now. If you was really that fast, show us that you that fast, man. Man, I knew it. You wasn't nothing, man. That's what them demons do, man. And if that guy's weak, he's gonna say, nah, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I am fast. Watch this. And guess what? He's gonna get cut from the team. Or that guy, he might get injured. You know? So this is how they're tempting Yahushua. If he be the king, if he be the king of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. You know, but Yahushua, he was strong. And it says the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men, and the foolishness of the Most High is wiser than men. Right. So the point of the matter is, don't get tempted, and be able to recognize these temptations, rather from your great grandmother or your own flesh or your best friend in the world, man. Who you haven't seen in 15 years, now all of a sudden you see him and he got a carved turkey. And it's the only day you got to meet him. You haven't seen him in 25 years. And the first time you meet him, you run into him, it's Thanksgiving. And he's leaving for the next flight back to Vegas. And you got to catch up. Hey, don't catch up with that guy, man. You know? You got to be able to recognize these things. So let's dive into it. Yardan, you had something?
I was just gonna say that's wicked because her sister, if I'm not mistaken, said her mom told her to clean out. She said, "My mom gonna ask me to clean her chitlins."
Wow.
I think she just wanna vex me as a joke.
Wow. Wow, unbelievable. Wow. You see that? My mom wants me to make her clean the chitlins. Right? Now, here's the truth. Now, we already know the common tradition of Thanksgiving. Right? They say that the pilgrims came to this side of the world, so-called Puritans, rather, who were separated from the Church of England. And we got some video clips and stuff we're going to bring out. And they came to Massachusetts. They came on the Mayflower, the Plymouth Rock. And you had native Indians here. That's what they call them, native Indians, which are really our brothers from the tribe of Gad. And they came to Massachusetts. Now, the tribes that were already here. So now we're going to dive into it. The tribes that were there, this is a map of the Native American settlements and trails from 1600 to 1650. And this is a map key. On the left, you have to know how to read a map key. So you have the Mohican, the Nipmuc. So there's more tribes than just saying, what does Jake normally say? Blackfoot. That's all Jake say. I'm Cherokee. And Blackfoot Indian. There's more
Chickasaw.
native so-called. You said what?
The Chickasaw too.
Yeah, Chickasaw. There is more so-called Native American tribes than Blackfoot Indian and Cherokee. Now, dealing with so-called New England, your northeastern so-called United States, these are your tribes that were there: the Mohican, Nipmuc, the Yantic, the Pequot, Mohegan, Massachusetts, the Massachusetts, and that's where you get the state Massachusetts from the actual tribe. The Wampanoag, the Nagaran, Narragansett, the Abenaki speaking tribes, the river tribes, and the tribes of the Western Connecticut. So these are all of the tribes that lived in so-called modern-day Massachusetts. All right? And you can see the different regions that they lived in. And you may say, well, what does that matter? Well, it matters because when you go to Massachusetts now, you go to Boston, and you go to these different places, where are they at? Where's the Mohican, the Nipmuc, the Pequot, the Massachusetts, the Wampanoag? Right? Where's all of these tribes at? Now, if we look up the demographics, which we may or we may not do, but if we look at the demographics of modern day Massachusetts, I guarantee it's well over 50%, 60% Caucasian, so-called white people. Let's actually do that. Right? Let's see. Damn, I did population. All right, well, that's fine. Okay, they got, all right, 78% black. All right, well, that's a little, 78% white, Salakia. There you go, 78% white. 7% black. 6.6% Asian, and other race. What is other race? It went from being 100% Israelite, Gad. Now Gad isn't even on the demographics. They're not even mentioned. They might have threw them in other race. Just threw them in there with maybe the Moabite and the damn Ammonite. You know? This is unbelievable. Let's actually go into this, man. They're not even mentioned. It went from being 100% Gad, and they're not even there anymore. Now, this is 2021. Why are we doing Massachusetts? Because the so-called colonists, you say they sailed on Plymouth Rock, right? They landed on Plymouth Rock. That's what they say. All right? Now let's go into this. Look at this. Yardan, if you got any points or something, you cut me off anytime. So this is Massachusetts demographics. According to the ACS, the racial composition of Massachusetts was 0.3% Black and African American, 6.60 Asian, other race 4.18%. Two or more races. Then you got Native American. There's less than 1% of Native Americans on that land. That's unbelievable. Now we can actually, if we wanted to, we can go deeper, which we may not do. We can actually pull up the actual population and then do the math behind it to actually find out how many by number Native Americans are there. And I'm led to believe there's less than maybe 50, maybe 5. I'm not going to do the math right now. This isn't a math class, but you're more than welcome to go into that on your own. Look up the population and then do what you got to do, and you'll find out how many so-called Native Americans are actually there. That this is sad, man. And you so-called white people, you got a lot to pay for, man. Your days are coming. Your days are numbered. Let's go to John chapter 10. Right? Let's go to John chapter 10. Unbelievable. And I didn't even know that. Right? A lot of this stuff, we kind of prep some stuff. Some stuff we just go in the spirit. Yardan, did you know that?
Salakia.
He might not hear me. He might be away. Right? But, that's I didn't know that, man. Less than 1%. Or really is less than 25, less than, a 0.25%, if that's a thing.
Can you hear me?
This is St. John chapter 10 and 10.
Hello?
The thief cometh not. Yardan, did you see that stat?
Can you hear me?
You on mute. Can't hear you. It's lucky. Satan kind of causing it to go a little bit. Yardan, can you hear me? He kind of froze up. All right, he said he having technical difficulties. All right, that's all right. We're gonna pull it right back up. Right, we're gonna pull it right back up. We're not playing no games. No cut cards. No cut cards. Right, let's go back to John chapter 10 and 10. Right, we're not gonna bite our tongue. You know, normally, you know, we're a little bit more politically correct. And when I say politically correct, we don't throw words out to get the channel flagged. We don't want the channel to get striked. You know, sometimes we'll say things, but we'll alternate words, right? We really don't use it. We won't, you know, say certain things. Tonight is no holds barred. Tonight, everything's going to be put on the table. Tonight, we dive. We don't care if the channel get flagged. We don't care if the so-called white man shut the live down right now, right? We don't care if the damn channel get removed and they come knock on the door and say, why are you bringing out the truth? We want that to happen, man. We're not going to stop. John chapter 10 and 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. You see that? So Yahweh Shai, he's coming to give us life. The thief, and we're going to keep it in this lesson, the thief is the so-called white man. And he's not coming unless he's coming to steal. And that's why on this, you have less than what? Let's pull it up again. Right? Let's pull it up again. You have 78% white and 0.22% Native American. Salakia was once inhabited by Gad, but the thief came and stole it. Now, if you go to Massachusetts and you're looking for the Massachusetts tribe, nobody's going to know what you're talking about. I guarantee 100% of the people in Massachusetts aren't going to know who the Massachusetts tribe is. Go there if you want to see the Pequot. You're not going to see the Pequot and bison walking around and buffalo, right? And beautiful garments and diadems and thrones and priests. Go see the Nipmuc if you want. They're not going to be there. You're going to see nasty Edomites, concrete, asphalt, factories. You might see a hood, and you might see some pale skin and some damn devils out there. You know, this is the foundation of the so-called colonists and how they started with Thanksgiving. Thanks stealing, Salakia. Thanks stealing, thanks killing. Now we're going to go into more of this, man. Right? Let's actually get another precept. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk. Right? And we're going to go more into it. There's less than 1%. And when you really go into some of these statistics, so-called Native Americans, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to pull it up. I believe they have the highest alcoholism rate. Out of all the different so-called races, Gad has the highest alcoholism rate. Why? Why wouldn't they? They didn't have the whole land. Now it's gone. They had rivers, creeks, acres, miles of land, pastures, peace, liberty, a civilization, a nation. When you read Second Ezra, chapter 13 and 40, the sole purpose of them coming was that they might keep their statutes and their laws, which they weren't able to keep. Now it's all gone. Why wouldn't they have the highest alcoholism rate? Why wouldn't they have the highest suicide and depression rate? Now, ultimately, we're going to show you the deeper reason behind it, but right now we get on the so-called white man. And you're not going to stop us. Right? Habakkuk chapter 2 and 12. Woe to him that buildeth the town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. So America was built off of blood. There was no fair trade going on. It was nothing but lies and deception. Right? It reads, behold, is it not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people weary themselves for vanity? And the point is, this town was built off of blood. And like we say all the time, underneath the concrete, underneath the asphalt, right? Underneath the bricks and the factories, underneath all of that, it's the blood and the tears and dead infants and women died that were pregnant and babies strangled by their umbilical cord underneath the highways and the railroads and the train stations and the bus stations lies the skulls and the blood and bones of the innocent. Woe to him, meaning death and destruction, to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. Right? Now let's go into this. Right? Again, this is the map of how the so-called white man came over here first. Right? To so-called Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and so-called New England. Now, what we're going to go into, again, traditional Thanksgiving, what they call Thanksgiving, it all starts with your Puritans, what they call pilgrims, who actually came to this side of the world, landed on Plymouth Rock. This is what they say. Every time Esau steals a land, he has some great legend and some great mythological story behind it. Instead of saying he just stole the land. Now he had to land on Plymouth Rock and this great deed happened. Every time he steals a land, he has to come up with a lie. Just like when he was the ancient Romans. When he stole the land from the Etruscans. He said, well, Remus and Romulus, they were nursed by a she-wolf. And they fought over 7 hills. There's always some type of mythological foundation. You know? And a lot of you Jakes, you believe that. So here's another map, if you're looking at it, of New England, right? Of Massachusetts and the so-called Indian tribes, which are really Israelites from the tribe of Gad. We don't call them Indian. Neither do we say Native American. We say so-called. But these are really your forefathers from the tribe of Gad and Reuben. And the brothers in Chicago, the brother Tazama and Zabaya Allah on the WFI backup channel, they actually jumped the gun and they're doing in-depth breakdowns on every one of the northern tribes, from Gad to Ephraim, and they're going through thoroughly, opening the books, the documents, and showing without a shadow of a doubt, infallible proof that Gad and Reuben and the other northern kingdom tribes are Israelites. So the topic of this lesson, or this article rather that you're looking at, it says Native Americans and Massachusetts Bay Colony. And we're going to dive into this. Now it says Puritans have landed. Now the Puritans were a sect of religious Christians who separated from the English church in the early 1600s, really the late 1500s, and they got a grant from King James to establish a colony in the northeastern United States. Right, that's who the Puritans. That's how they came over here. Right, it reads, and this is a complete hypocrisy. Puritan. There's nothing pure and nothing holy about the so-called white man. Right? Nothing pure and nothing holy about the so-called white man. Right? Bear with me 1 second. So it reads, by the time of early European colonization attempts, bear with me. It reads, by the time of early European colonization attempts, there were over 30,000. Now, we don't believe this either, right? I believe it was more. I'm not just going to go with 30,000. I mean, how could I? Right? It had to be more. It had to be more. Right? A lot of these numbers, man. A lot of these numbers, Esau like to play with numbers. You know? This is mockery. 30,000 is mockery. So let's say it's 30,000. Right? There were 30,000 Native Americans in Massachusetts living amongst a variety of tribes belonging to the Algonquin language group. Some of the most well-known tribes were the Wampanoag, right? Pequot, and we're going to talk about the Pequot, right? And the Wampanoag, if I'm pronouncing that right, Salaki, right? The Wampanoag, the Pequot, Nipmuc, and the Massachusetts. They lived in small bands and had no supreme chief. Unfortunately, the Europeans would bring with them diseases that the Native Americans had no immunity against, resulting in large, deadly epidemics. Right, the so-called white man, what did he bring over here? He brought smallpox. He brought varicella. He brought tuberculosis. He brought syphilis. He brought all types of diseases, plagues. On not some of these things, the so-called white man, he's a brute beast. But what they did was through what you call biological warfare, they have attacked Gad and Reuben with these plagues on purpose. Right, and I'm gonna go back to this. This is I'm not gonna read this entire article, but brothers, you can check this out on your own. Right, this is from the New York area of Historical Society News and Databases. Now, this is disease and death in early America. Right, disease and death in early America, and they actually go into great detail of the numbers of deaths and the specific plagues that were recorded through eyewitnesses and that were brought over by the so-called white man, right? Disease and death in early America. See, then they have all these epidemics that the so-called white man brought. In 1657, measles. 1687, measles. Yellow fever. In 1713, more Edomites brought measles. In 1732, they brought influenza. They brought smallpox. They brought measles. They brought influenza. Putrid fever, yellow fever, one of the worst, right? Extremely fatal bilious disorder, many unexplained deaths in 1793. So this man is the damn devil, man. All he brought was disease, smallpox, measles, yellow fever, bilious disorder. I haven't heard of that one. Putrid fever, typhus. This is a sick man. That's why he gotta go. Let's go to the book of Revelation. That's why he has to go, man. And then he'll bring diseases, and then he'll come up with a way to treat the diseases, and he'll charge your arm and a leg, and he's injecting you with more diseases. Let's go to Revelation 11. And guess what? Gad and Reuben, they didn't have those diseases. There were no diseases over here. They may have had physical remedies with their muscular system or skeletal, and they had so-called priests, or what the world calls medicine men, to be able to take care of that. Gad and Reuben, they had apothecaries. They had physicians. You know, when a guy may have cut himself in battle, they didn't give a guy Tylenol. They didn't give a guy Robitussin. They prayed to the Most High, right? And they were very knowledgeable of the herbs of the field, pursuant to Sirach, the 38th chapter. So they had no idea about smallpox. They had no idea about varicella and syphilis. But the so-called white men, they were immune to those demons. And remember, plagues are really caused by demons. right? So those demons that were working on a so-called white man, Gad and Reuben, they weren't exposed to those demons. Because it's more than just a sickness. It's actually spirits. So those spirits that was on Gad and Reuben that was on Esau, hopped on Gad and Reuben and worked and then start plaguing their bodies and caused the genocide. Revelation 11 and 18. And the nations were angry. And we're the most angry nation right now. We should be. Now, of course, the Moabite man, he's angry that Esau's all up in the Pacific. We know the Hamite man is angry because his land was divided like a cheesecake. We know that Japheth is angry because he turned his lands to vacation and resort spots. But nobody should be more angry than a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. And around this time of the year, if you're from the tribe of Gad, you're from the tribe of Reuben, Asher, Issachar, Naphtali, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, it should be nothing to smile about. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. So who destroyed the earth? It wasn't the Israelites. We didn't put chemtrails all in the air. We didn't pollute the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean with oil spill after oil spill after oil spill. We're not responsible for birds falling out of the side, out of the damn sky, committing mass suicide. We're not responsible, us as the Israelites, for whales and dolphins beaching themselves up on the shore, saying, I can't breathe, I can't deal with this water, I just want to die. And they just killed themselves and say, I'd rather die than live in this water. We didn't do that. We didn't pollute the earth with all types of diseases and poison and inject people with all types of wickedness. We didn't commit sorcery in massive numbers to manipulate the hearts of men. Who was responsible for destroying the earth? We just pulled up the article. Over a span of almost 300 years, every wave of Edomites, right? Let me get Yardan in here. Right? Let me get him back in here. Shalom, King.
Shalom.
Khan. So like we were saying, every wave of Edomites, they brought nothing but death and destruction. Let's get another precept on that. All right, let's go to Jeremiah. Khan, King. Let me get this real quick. This is Jeremiah 51 and 25. So, Yardan, you saw I put up the list.
Khan.
I went into all of the diseases. Well, that's what we're going into, right? That the so-called white man brought. Asiatic cholera, brought by English immigrants. Nationwide fever. You said what?
We're not joking when we say he's a cancer. A lot of people think we're talking about, literal, on a literal scale, he's a cancer cell. He's a cancer. He's a living cancer, And what is cancer's goal? To spread throughout the body, to spread throughout and make everything worse. I got an article when you're done, or a book.
Okay, Con. You want me to pull it up on here, or you're just gonna read it?
I think I can.
Okay, Con. All right, it says nationwide fever, Asiatic cholera, typhus, and these diseases aren't like a common cold.
Right.
These things, you're coughing up blood. You go blind. You choke to death. And you got to think, they don't know what they're getting. We know, okay, it's a common cold. We know the symptoms. When you know the symptoms of a particular disease, okay, you know how to treat it. Okay, I got a cold, I'm going to rest, I'm going to hydrate, I'm going to sweat it out. Jake, you like to sweat it out and do your thing. Right? Because we are, what's what I'm looking for? We are desensitized to the plagues of the so-called white man, unfortunately. But put yourself in a perspective, or in the shoes of a nation of people, they don't know why they're coughing. They don't know why their hand is swelling up. They don't know why they're coughing up blood. They're trying to figure out why their father's blind. He was an ancient chief and a mighty warrior, but now he's blind. He's trying to figure out his mother is coughing her lungs up, literally, and can't breathe. They don't know. And a so-called white man is back there licking his lips, lusting after another little boy. So typhus, yellow fever, typhoid, all the way up to 1918. So you have nothing but, like Yardan said, cancer. Look at this. In 1793 in Virginia, the flu killed 500 people in 5 counties in 4 weeks. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Look at this. Yellow fever, 1852 in New Orleans. 800 people die in the summer. Let me get this precept real quick. I know you got something, Yardan. Right? That's why, guess what? We hate the so-called white man. Right? And I'll be the first to tell you. I hate the so-called white man. You got people saying you can't hate. And this brother inboxed me today. You too much. You hate the so-called white man. You shouldn't say that. That's not nice. Just folk. Hey, no, we hate the so-called white man. The Most High hates him. And we hate what the Lord hates. And it's not rooted in emotion. It's rooted in truth. Real quick, Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord. Which what? Which destroyest all the earth. So America says great destroying mountain that destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach Yahushua. See that? So this man is responsible for destroying all the earth. You got it, King.
Brother Jimmy?
Khan.
All right, let me try this real quick.
If not, you can send it to me and I'll pull it up. Right? So this guy, I mean, this devil, man, and we have more. We've only just started. We just put our foot in the water. You said what?
Can you see my screen?
Not yet. But it looked like it's about to pop up.
All right. Slow.
Right? Okay. And like I said, we just started. A lot of brothers, you think there's more to come. There's a lot more stuff, and you're going to be mad by the end of this call. You're going to be like this. Your fist might be balled up, but you got to wait on the Lord, you know? Just you got to pump your brakes. You got to call upon Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? You can't sit there and on think still and go and start scalping the so-called white man. So it should be showing, King. I'm going to add it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I just put it up. It's on there.
God, this is from a book called Salakia. This is from a book called Everything You Need to Know About Latino. Salakia, not that one. 103 Facts About the Black Indian. All right. Now, brothers got to get this book. You can get it on Amazon. All right. It's kind of mean, right? It touches on a whole lot. But I wanted to get a quick part. Where am I going to get?
What page
it has
you
everything to do. Let me see. This is still the introduction.
Okay.
So this is the PDF online. 103 Amazing Facts About the Black Indian of the Western Hemisphere, right? By Canyon and non-reservationists. So I'm going to scroll down. All right, we're not going to read the entire book. All right. All right. Bear with me. We're going to start right here. Oh, shoot. Right here. I am a red stick warrior, We opposed European expansion into our ancestral lands. We opposed our own people who supported this and oppressed, and opposed our own people who supported the rebel government called America. So you had coons back then. There's nothing new under the sun.
Yep, yep.
You still had, believe that, you had guys that was cooning out. Maybe these white men, they're not so bad. We might as well just give in. All right. We fought against Europeans, the new rebel government, America, and our own people. We have bathed in hot blood with our own kinsmen who were wooed, who were wooed and seduced by European lifestyle and European trinkets. And guess what? You still got Gadites, and a lot of these so-called black men in America, a lot of you're Gadites, all right? Y'all still getting wooed and seduced by the European lifestyle, all right? Many battles were fought with the white man, so-called white man. Many more were fought with our own people who became victims of the white man's spell.
Damn.
See, Thanksgiving is a spell, and a lot of you get bewitched by it. You get seduced. You smell the turkey, you start gravitating towards it like you're in a cartoon, You get the apple pie, you lose your mind. It got the colors and the atmosphere and the pumpkin spice candles and the lattes. You get seduced by America. All right. Next thing you know, you're at a dinner table, holding hands with your oppressor, saying what you're thankful for around that nasty, stinky turkey, right? And it says, many battles were fought with the white man. Many more fought with our own people who became victims of the white man's spell. Throughout different battles, where there were 1,000 more white people in the battlefield, there were triple the number of us in ranks alongside them. Alongside of them, helping them with their European colony. That's terrible. This is terrible. These are actual coons. So you had Gad helping out the so-called white man fulfill his duty. And a lot of you, Jake, when you celebrate these wicked holidays, you're doing the exact same thing. You're helping a so-called white man, right, fulfill his duty on earth. That's all I wanted to get.
Yeah, and I mean let me see that. It's Lucky King. I was trying to see it again. It says many battles were fought with the white man. Many more were fought with our own people who became victims of the white man's spell. Let me get this precept real quick. And this is the book of Isaiah.
Kind of got one after you.
And that's exactly what it is. Like Yaradon brought out, and that's, I believe, isn't that the an actual Gadite?
Yeah, that's a Gadite.
Right. So she said earlier in this, her father's side is from Coweta, Kasuta, Shawnee, and Tuscarora people. Right? That's where her people are from. And her mother's side comes from the Salagai, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Chicula people. You see that? So she's an actual Gadite. This is Isaiah chapter 47. Boy, first let me go to Nahum. Well, I'll get Nahum first. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and 4. And if you still want to celebrate Thanksgiving after watching this video, shame on you. Shame on you. Right? Just absolute shame. Nahum chapter 3 and 4. It reads, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So America is that great harlot that commits witchcraft and manipulates the minds of the people. And you have Jake. They're so drunk, they'll do 2 Thanksgivings. I've heard people do that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, they'll do like an early Thanksgiving with their coworkers, right? With Bob and his wife, the so-called white man. And then they may make it to grandma's Thanksgiving later, maybe around 6 p.m. when a big game comes on. So they're so drunk, they're doing 2 Thanksgivings. One with the so-called white man, and another one with grandma damn Rhonda. You know? You got it, King.
That's this precept I was going to get, but it's another one. It's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 12. For the bewitching of naughtiness doth obscure things that are honest, and the wandering of concupiscence doth undermine the simple mind. Let me jump down. It's like you're wrong one. It's like it. This is Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 4. That's what I want. Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices. Right? And we know that this can be applied to the so-called white man as well. All right? But chiefly our people. Because they do works of witchcraft that they learn from the so-called white man. Right? And, doing that turkey in the oven, that's nothing but a sacrifice. Because what made you want to do that? What made you want to roast that turkey? It had to start, they had to have some type of evil beginning. They probably did to Molech or some satanic god. Let's roast the turkey open over the fire. You got it.
Con like they're saying, somebody said Friendsgiving. They call it Friendsgiving too. I remember when I was in the world and so-called college, they said I didn't even want to celebrate it. And the world, and they was like, well, we're just going to call it Friendsgiving. I knew this Eve from Brooklyn. She said, well, look, y'all just come up, we're going to call it Friendsgiving. So a lot of Jakes, their mind isn't right, man. Their mind is bad. And they're thinking about all of the atrocities. Right? So, you got something else, Yardan? Your screen's still showing. You're on mute.
I was looking for the other video. It was a Edomite who bewitched Jake, and now he's going to her house for Thanksgiving every day. It's like every year.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
6th year.
Yeah, I remember.
I think they're on their 5th or 6th year.
It was all over the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was famous for going. I think she kind of saved his life or something like that. But while you look for that, let me put this back up on the screen.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, let me pull this back up. So this is while Yaradon's looking for that. Right? Now going back to this, it reads, this is again going back to Native Americans in Massachusetts Bay Colony. It reads, by the time of we read that already. It reads, unfortunately, the Europeans would bring with them diseases that the Native Americans had no immunity against, resulting in large, deadly epidemics. Yardan, if you find that, let me know. The Native population continued to suffer from disease and warfare throughout the remainder of the 17th century. Nearly 90% of the Native population were killed during that period. And I saw on the comment board, believe it or not, a brother did the math. And the brother did the math of 0.22% so-called Gadites from 2019. It was around 15,000. 15,000 left. And they're probably somewhere in the reservation getting drunk. And you had, like Yaradon brought out too, you did have a lot of coons. You had a whole lot of sellouts. You had some Gad that was trying to put Jake in slavery or Southern Kingdom. You had Gad that was selling out for the so-called white man, which is nothing new. That's during the time of Maccabees. That's all throughout the Bible. It reads, when English immigrants set sail for the quote-unquote New World in the early 17th century, many of them believed that they would be settling what Pilgrim William Bradford called a vast and unpeopled country. But deep down inside, they knew that there were people on this side of the world. So don't believe the so-called white man when he says nobody was here. We didn't know. Right? But when they arrived in America, they found a developed region with a large population of Native Americans. It reads, different tribes spoke different languages, had their own political structures, and had developed distinct cultures. Cultural misunderstandings and intolerance plagued Native European relations, hampering negotiations and sometimes leading to violent confrontations. It reads, the Puritans began to arrive in 1629, and their religion affected their attitude toward Native Americans. They considered Native Americans inferior because of their primitive lifestyle. Now that's somebody's perception, right? What makes you believe that the so-called Gadites were primitive? Because they wasn't walking around with guns and wearing nasty black hats and buckets. What makes the so-called Native American primitive? Because he's not eating abominable foods and he serves one God. See, this is that so-called white man talk. That's what they call it white man talk. Gad and Reuben, all of a sudden, now they're primitive. But yet Esau, you're begging them for how to survive. Believe it or not, when a so-called white man came over here, they were literally starving. That's something that they didn't make up. That's a hardcore, stone cold fact. But what they don't tell you is, how did they try to survive? They were robbing graves of Gad and their people and eating the graves, eating the people out the graves. There's accounts of men starving in the wintertime and eating their wives, Edomites. You can say, well, you're making that up. I don't believe that. Not the so-called, yes, the so-called white man did that, and he's not going to put it out there. But we're going to put it out there. We're going to let it be known. Right? The Lord said in Luke, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to St. Luke chapter 12 and 2. We're going to pull it out, man. And we're not ashamed either. We're not ashamed about stuff like this. This is our thing. This is what we look forward to. Luke chapter 12 and 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. You see that? So everything that they have tried to cover up, it's all going to come to light. It's all coming to light. Now, bear with me. I wanted to find this, right? So I could pull it up on the so-called screen. All right, I got it right here. Now, Yardan, you got it. I want to pull this up on the screen. You got something you want to go into?
Just that text from that grandmother. It's kind of bad, but I can get it later.
I can show it right now because I gotta pull this up.
All right.
You want me to show you screen?
Okay. All right. This is grandma texts wrong teen about Thanksgiving, invites him anyway. So that's the wicked turkey. All right. That's terrible. But anyway. All right. On November 5th, it's like on November 15th, 17-year-old Jamal, right, from Chandler, Arizona, got looped into a group text. The text included 2 unknown numbers and an invite to Thanksgiving. Confused, Hinton asked who they were. The text responded, their grandma. Thanksgiving dinner's at my house. This time, let me know if you're coming. He's like, who is this? You know, this Edomite saying your grandma. He said, grandma, can I have a picture? Of who? You. And that's the nasty Edomite. That's her. All right. So, you know, it's just a wicked exchange. Jake kind of being seduced by his grandmother. I don't know why he's still texting her. You know, he said, can I still get a plate though? She said, of course you can. That's what grandmas do. Feed everyone. You know, so he got bewitched by that so-called white woman. You know, look at Jake.
That's unbelievable.
That's despicable.
That's...
And this is they on a roll, right? They on their 7th year. No, just getting a plate. You know, for you brothers and sisters, in case you didn't know, no getting a plate. Not even for your lunch or hold up, you know, I don't want to be overrighteous. No, brother. No.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous right there. Can I still get a plate? I mean, damn, Jake. And what year is that? 7 years?
Yeah.
Man, man. I almost got a damn migraine. Trying to comprehend it. You know? Now, what I'm about to pull up on the screen, right, Yarda? Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Golly, can I still come? It's going to turn into the movie Get Out.
Hey, so that means he had 2 Thanksgivings.
Yep. One from the devil and another from a black devil. You know? Look at that. Look at this guy. Look at him. Was he in the classroom? Why is he the only one in the classroom? In a slow class. Right? So let me pull this up real quick, man. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now, this is let me go to Sirach 1:29. Let me get a precept real quick before we go into this article. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1:29. So the only one in the classroom hungry. I mean, unbelievable. That takes the cake. Let's go to Sirach chapter 1 and let's go to verse 29. Right? Let me deal with this precept real quick. This Ecclesiastes chapter 1:29. It reads, "Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest." So the scriptures command you, be not a hypocrite in the sight of men. Because in that previous article, it says that the Puritans, the so-called white men, when they came over here, they looked down upon Gad and the rest of the northern kingdom because they felt that their lifestyle was what they call primitive. Right? Where they said they were eating people, they were doing so-and-so. Well, hold on now. We're going to show you something about the so-called white man. That this devil ain't nothing but a hypocrite. He should have took heed what he speak, because he about to get put on blast, man. The Lord said in Job, right? Job chapter 15. Now, if they cut the live, hey, I wouldn't be surprised, man. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. We gonna go into it, man. This is Job chapter 15 and 34. It reads, "For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief." Tell me this isn't talking about the so-called white man. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't see Esau in there. Show me Edom. No, you have to have your mind open, your spiritual eyes. They don't have to say Edom in there for you to understand it's talking about this damn devil. He conceives mischief and brings forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit. And this is when we get deeper into this day, this is how your thanksgiving, your thanks killing and thanks stealing was started, by conceiving mischief and bringing forth vanity, and their mind preparing deceit. Now, here's an article from Smithsonian Magazine.org. Right? It reads, "Starving settlers." Let me make sure this is showing. Right? It says, "Starving settlers in Jamestown colony resorted to cannibalism." So when the so-called white man came over here, they was primitive. They were eating each other. Gad didn't have to eat each other. They had bison. They had buffalo. They had 1,000 types of deer and all types of turkeys and clean meat that they can eat. Why would they have to eat each other? But the so-called white man, he's a cannibal. And he didn't want to bring that out. Bring that out on your Thanksgiving parade. On your Macy's Day, and hope the Most High bomb that damn Macy's Day parade. Just like he put the spirit on that guy to run through on that yard. You saw that? He was driving an SUV and he killed like 4 people. I believe that may have been like a Christmas thing or something. But the Most High's getting up with the so-called white man. He put the spirit on the dude to kind of run through and cut men down. And Most High willing, on Macy's Day Parade, something kicks off. And a damn engine explode and, all hell break loose and a mass shooter comes out and, So starving settlers in Jamestown colony resorted to cannibalism. The harsh winter of 1609 in Virginia's Jamestown colony forced residents to do the unthinkable. Well, a recent excavation at the historic site discovered the carcasses of dogs, cats, and horses consumed during a season commonly called the starving time. Esau called it the starving time. I don't think Gad and Reuben called it that. I mean, again, why would they have to? They were living there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Well accustomed to the climate, environment, and the preparation of that wintertime coming in. Esau, he's a damn fool. Because, there weren't he couldn't go to the caves. There were no caves out there in the high mountains. You kind of caught out there, So they called the wintertime the starving time. And they were eating dogs. So it's not just the Moabite man. Kind of getting excited. I got to slow down. It's not just the Moabite man that was eating dogs. And you so-called white people, man. Why don't you talk about that? Huh? Why don't you bring that up? You got all these dog parks and all of this dogs that get funerals and medals of honors and there's a dog restaurant in Baltimore. In Mount Vernon, there's a dog restaurant. You can go and you got to stay in the car. Your dog can come in, but you got to stay in the car. And they have stools for the dog and they have menus for the dog. Why don't you tell them that you used to eat them? Why don't you put that history out there? You said what?
Is that for real?
That's a real thing. It's in Mount Vernon. Not too far from the school. That's an actual thing. Right? So they were eating dogs, cats, and horses. Consumed during a season commonly called the starving time. Because again, they didn't know how to survive those elements. And that's why they relied on Gad and the aid and succor of the children of Israel, to be able to help them survive those winters. It reads, but a few other newly discovered bones, in particular, though tell a far more gruesome story. The dismemberment and cannibalization of a 14-year-old English girl. See that's how the so-called white man got down. When he came over here to Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Boston, even down south in Virginia, this devil was starving. They had scurvy. They didn't have enough food. They didn't know what was going on. And they were pretty much caught out there. It reads, the chops to the forehead. So they was chopping up her forehead. Are very tentative, very incomplete, says Douglas Owsley, the Smithsonian forensic anthropologist who analyzed the bones after they were found by archaeologists from the preservation of Virginia. So they chopped her head. It says, then the body was turned over and there were 4 strikes to the back of the head. One which was the strongest and split the skull in half. This is how they killed this Edomite girl. Right? You Edomites, you want to talk about how you resorted to being a savage and killing a so-called innocent little girl. and splitting her skull in half when you came to this side of the world. All you talk about is, well, you know, we landed on Plymouth Rock, and it is what it is. Talk about everything. Don't just, you know, hold back. Don't hold back. Let it out. It says a penetrating wound was then made to the left temple. So this is some savage. This is some downright surgical savage behavior. You got to visualize this. They chopped in the head. They turned her over. They 4 strikes in the back of there. This is some angry, I'm hungry type of stuff. This I gotta eat now. Type caveman behavior. Hey, this is caveman. This is caveman behavior, man. Hit you in the back of the head with a billy club. You know? A penetrating wound was then made to the left temple, probably by a single-sided knife, which was used to what? To pry open the head and remove the brain. Look at that. That's what this devil went to pry open the head. That's some caveman, brute beast, but we the savages. We're the thugs. We're the monsters. We're the crooks. We're the criminals. And the so-called white man, he's the Puritan, the holy man who came to America against a savage race of infidels, and by the good grace of God converted them to Christianity and saved them from their pagan ways and assimilated them to a Christian lifestyle more worthy for their salvation. That's the MO and the propaganda of the society. But again, we no stone is unturned, man. We bringing it all out through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. So they took a single-sided knife and they started prying open the head and they took out her brain. Right? Let's see what else we got. Let's see. It says, given these bones in a trash pit, all cut and chopped up, it is clear that this body was dismembered for consumption. It's long been speculated that the harsh conditions faced by the colonists of Jamestown might have made them desperate enough to eat other humans, and perhaps even commit murder to do so. The colony was founded in 1607 by 104 settlers aboard 3 ships. So you Edomites to celebrate Thanksgiving, bring this out, right? 3 ships to Susan Constant, Discovery, and Godspeed, but only 38 survived the first 9 months of life in Jamestown, with most succumbing to starvation and disease, right? Some researchers speculate that drinking water poisoned by arsenic and human waste also played a role. Because of the difficulties in growing crops, they arrived in the midst of one of the worst regional droughts in centuries, and many settlers were unused to hard agricultural labor. The survivors remained dependent on supplies brought by subsequent missions, as well as trade with Native Americans. See that? As well as trade with Native Americans. So we're diving into it, right? We're diving into it. I'm not going to read this entire article, but I want to jump down, right? I want to jump down. Now we're going to actually get into the deep origins of it, right? We're going to get into the deep origins of it, man. Hey, the Lord said in 2 Thessalonians, let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right, 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. And the brother put a good precept from Egypt to Israel and 1 Maccabees 1:9. And after this, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, and so did their sons after them many years. and evils were multiplied in the earth. See that? So this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 2. Right? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 2. It reads, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. Right? Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So Yahushua is not going to return until these two things happen. These are two major prophecies that have to happen prior to Yahushua's second coming. You have to have a falling away, which is what? The children of Israel being kicked out of the land of Israel, losing our heritage, losing our nationality, being disconnected from the Most High, and being scattered abroad in slavery. That has to happen first. Because remember, Yahushua is coming to redeem us. So we have to be scattered. That's the falling away. The second thing that must happen prior to Yahushua returning is that the man of sin has to be revealed. The word reveal meaning you're pulling back the veil. Read meaning back, and veil goes back to the word veil. So you're pulling back the veil on a man of sin. Who is the man of sin? Esau, the so-called white man. So you can't get mad at us for getting on Esau. This is we're stirring up the spirit of Yahushua to return. We're hastening the coming. If we don't get on Esau, we're not going to be delivered. And we don't expose the so-called white man, then we're going to remain in captivity. If we don't call this man a devil and pull out the atrocities and do videos like this, then how else is he going to be revealed? What are you going to wait on Fox News to do a damn article on the atrocities of the so-called white man and link it up with the precepts? What are you going to wait on Mythbusters and damn who else? Damn Al Roker and Jesse Jackson and the elites and CBS? They're not going to do it. So the Most High put the spirit on his servants in these last days to reveal all of the details and dig it up. All right, keep digging, and keep digging and put it on the table. He has to be revealed, and it's only one way. And that's why the Lord created this internet, man. Right? This internet is pivotal for mass information and to expedite the knowledge of the Lord. You know, the Lord said in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. So right now we're revealing a man of sin, the son of perdition. Why is he called the man of sin? Because his job is to enforce sin on the earth. That's one of the main purposes of Esau. He's not here to be Clark Kent. He wasn't created to be, a righteous man. He wasn't created to be some type of guy that you look up to. He's created to cause sin. That's his sole purpose. And after that, his job is to go into slavery and be destroyed. That's it. That's why you have Halloween. That's why you have Thanksgiving. That's why you have Christmas. That's why you have New Year's. That's why you have 4th of July. You have to have sin on the earth, but you have to have a man to put sin out there. And that man is Esau. Right? He's the man of sin, but guess what? He's being revealed. And he's also called the son of perdition, meaning the son of destruction. Right? His job is to cause destruction on the earth. And he's ultimately the man of destruction. He's going to be destroyed, meaning exterminated. Reading on. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. Paul said, hey, when I visited the church at Thessalonica, I told you about this. I told you about this damn devil. Paul talked about the so-called white man. He said, hey, I told you about the man that said he didn't get too deep, but Paul knew about it. Neither was that the focus of his ministry. but nevertheless, that knowledge was still given to him by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So Yahushua taught the Apostle Paul hands down about the devil, which is the so-called white man, which in that time is the Roman Empire. And now, check this out. 2 Thessalonians 2:6. And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And this is his time to be revealed. You know, back in the 1600s, it wasn't time for him to be revealed. Back in the 1700s, it wasn't time for him to be revealed. Neither was it in the 1930s or the 1940s when America had that leave it to beaver lifestyle, and the dad would come home with the briefcase and say, honey, I'm home. And the Edomite woman, she got the apple pie on the windowsill, and the son got the cowboy hat on and his guns, and he's running around, and the little girls playing the piano, and everybody has straight A's. And they got the Letterman jackets and the greased up hair. And they got the jukeboxes at the the milkshake spot, the burger and the milkshake spot, and the drive-ins. Those days are over with, man. Now he's being revealed. The days of the Leave It to Beaver, what other show is that? The Brady Bunch, American, that lifestyle is over with. Now he's on crack. There's a what is that? A meth epidemic. You understand? You got Edomite women dating black guys. You got all hell is breaking loose. And he's being revealed for being the devil, most importantly. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Meaning the Most High is letting him do his deed, right? Until he destroys him. And the mystery of iniquity is already working, meaning the Roman Empire, right? The mystery of iniquity is the Roman Empire. Paul said he's already doing his evil works, but the Most High is only letting him do that till the Most High take him out the way. And then 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, meaning his word, these prophecies. That's the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So guess what? The wicked is being revealed. Let's go into this word revealed in the Greek, right? Now he's being revealed like that mystery movie, right? That mystery movie, or they call it a whodunit, when everybody's trying to figure out who did it. Everybody's trying to figure out who's causing sin on the earth. But now the Most High, he's pulling back the mask of this devil. So this word revealed, right? Apocalypto, right? Like revelation. So let's pull this word revealed up. Right, that's similar to the word revelation. Right?
Strong's G 601. Apocalypto. Apocalypto.
That's a movie, Apocalypto, right? To uncover, lay open what has been veiled or covered up. And that's what we're doing, man. All of his lies, all of his deception, all of the secrets of the so-called white man is being made bare. It was covered up, but now it's been exposed. Right? Let's get another precept before we get, I had something else I wanted to go into. Let's go to Nahum, the 3rd chapter. Right? The Lord said he will lift up the skirts upon your face. This Nahum chapter 3 and verse, I'll start at Slakia. I want this precept. I just had it. Right, this Bear with me. Here it is, Slakia, Nahum 3 and 6. Or 3 and 5. It reads, Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. So the Lord going to lift up the skirt, and you're going to see all of the secret parts. Like you got that old Marilyn Monroe thing, she's trying to hold down her dress. That's how the so-called white man is. He's trying to hold down his dress. Like the old nasty Marilyn Monroe picture that's famous. That harlot. But he can't hold his dress down anymore. The Most High is lifting it up above his face. And now you're seeing all of the secret parts. It reads, and I will show the nations thy nakedness. And he's doing that now. Right now you're living in Bible prophecy because we're actually fulfilling that in real time. Because we're showing you the nakedness of the so-called white man. And this internet is dispersed throughout all of the nations. So you're living in Nahum 3 and 5. Right? And it's not just us, it's all the men of the Lord and these various bodies that the Most High has doing this. And I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile and will set thee as a gazing stock. Right? Let me see it for brother in the background. Shalom, King.
Shalom.
Can you hear me?
Getting up. Yeah, Satan keep trying to mess with the internet and other stuff. Gone.
So this is I want to pull this up as well. So bear with me 1 second. You got it, Yardan. I want to see if I can find this. Bear with me.
So a person can make a wise man mad. That's all in the scriptures, right? In fact, let me bring up the book of 2nd Ezra. This is the book of Slovakia. This book is 2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 1. And it reads, in the 13th year, after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelt in Babylon, right? And we feel the exact same way how Ezra feels, right? There's nothing new under the sun, right? Not even these feelings that Ezra is feeling. All right, we wake up in Babylon, America the Great, and we feel very vexed to be here, right? Why? Because we see the wealth of them that dwell in Babylon, right? We see these rich ass Edomites, right, getting ready for Thanksgiving, losing their mind, you know. And I'm at a particular so-called job where I have to be around, people, and all I hear is Edomites complaining and stressing over getting so-called Thanksgiving right and perfect for their family. And it's vexing, and seeing that it's the so-called holiday seasons, I gotta wake up every damn day. And I'm sure obviously I'm not the only one. We wake up every day and you know what you're about to walk into. You're about to hear these people complain and I need my turkey now. I wanted it just right. I don't think I can do this anymore. They're stressing over a wicked holiday, right? And again, this is very vexing, right? You got sisters saying their mothers asking them to clean chitlins. You got brothers kind of, in a corner of the house because, hey man, I'm going to get there. The 2nd Ezra 3 and 3. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I begun to speak words full of fear to the Most High instead, right? And as you continue to read, you'll see how Ezra is speaking to the Lord, right? But the point is, he woke up and he was very vexed, right? He laid troubled upon his bed, right? And that's how a lot of us feels being here in Babylon, America the Great, especially during this wicked, wicked holiday, all right? You got it.
Okay, Khan, I'm about to pull this up. Now, hopefully it plays. Bear with me. Now this is Native American girls describe
Thanksgiving, America. I'm Donna, and I'm here with
Salakia. Can you hear that, Yardan? Did you hear it?
God.
All right, this is and this is 144, was 1 minute and 44 seconds long. Right? So this is Native American girls describe the real history behind Thanksgiving. You know? And these aren't $5 what they call $5 Indians. These aren't Edomite women pretending to be Eve or whatever. These are actual, Israelites. You know? So let's play this. Most I willing it worked.
my friends to tell you the real history behind this holiday. Growing up, I knew that what they told you in
And Salakia, who else would be more credible to tell you about Thanksgiving than the people who are actually victims of it? So whose side are we going to believe? Are we going to listen to Esau's side of the story? Who's the victor? They say the winners write history. Are we going to listen to him, or are we going to listen to a primary source, of a nation of people who experienced this?
school about Thanksgiving wasn't true. That's not the true story. The true story behind Thanksgiving was after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it.
See that? You heard that, Yardan?
God.
After every killing of a so-called Native American village, the Edomites celebrated it. Right?
The true story behind Thanksgiving was after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving. But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln became president that it became an official holiday.
And a lot of you Jakes, you like Abraham Lincoln. He's the one that gave the green light. You said what?
Say you love him.
Yeah, you love him. I've heard certain Jakes say he's an Israelite.
Yeah, I have too. To be honest, I have.
Yeah, I've heard that. He's the one that gave the green light to make it a federal holiday. Right? So I want to go back in case you missed it.
But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln became president that it became an official holiday. He ordered 38 Dakota men to be hung for war crimes after the sacred holiday Christmas. We take this time to remember our elders who lost their lives due to what really happened. Usually my mom makes a Native American dish for us and we pray. Growing up, I would be kind of annoyed that they didn't know what actually happened on Thanksgiving and that they're actually celebrating the deaths of many people and many tribes that were lost.
Whether it's to give thanks or to be with your family, you should learn how the holiday was established in the first place.
See that?
I'm thankful for being born indigenous to this continent. I'm thankful that I still have my culture.
I'm thankful that my elders kept our culture alive all these years.
I'm thankful to be indigenous, resilient, and alive. I'm thankful for us all to be able to stand together, stand strong, and stand as one. Happy Thanksgiving, America.
See that? That's what you should do.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Right? Now you going, and Yahushua flipped over tables, man.
Yeah.
The Lord flipped over, he overturned tables. They said they pretty much said F Thanksgiving, you damn devils. But they on TV, they can only say so much. If that TV wasn't rolling, I'm led to believe they would have said a lot more. See that? Now, they went into it how after every destruction or every death or every victory rather that the so-called white man had over Gad, they would have a feast and celebrate it. But there's a little bit more behind that, right? There's a little bit more behind that. Now, we're going to go into this. This is let's see if we can get this. This is let's see if I can pull this up. The Pequot Massacre. Right? The Pequot Massacre. Now, here's one of the fundamental things you need to know about so-called Thanksgiving. So the Pequot, remember we put it up on the map earlier. The Pequot was one of the ancient tribes that lived out there in Massachusetts, that lived out there in so-called New England. Now, there's a massacre called the Pequot Massacre, and there's a feast that comes after the Pequot Massacre. So it says a pre-dawn attack on Mystic Fort that left 500 adults and children of the Pequot tribe dead. The Pequot Massacre was the first defeat of the Pequot people by the English in the Pequot War, a 3-year war instigated by Puritans, meaning the so-called white man, to seize the tribe's traditional land. Look at this. Here's your foundation of Thanksgiving. The so-called white man wants to seize your land and start a war to take it. The Pequot War is described in the New Young Reader's version of an indigenous people's history of the United States. Here's a brief excerpt. And there's actually a statue of the guy who led this massacre. I believe they just took it down, but they had it up for almost 400 years. They honored this guy who killed all of these Gadites and threw a feast. Pequots were living in 2 forts. And one fort were mainly Pequot men, and the other were primarily women, children, and elders. Mercenary John Mason targeted the latter. Slaughter ensued. After killing most of the Pequot defenders, the soldiers set fire to the structures and burned the remaining people there alive. Though the Puritan slaughter of the Pequots was devastating, they continued to fear retaliation by the surviving Pequots who had sought refuge among neighboring nations. The fear was so great that they destroyed Pequots' remaining homes and food supplies and forced them to leave their homeland. This gruesome defeat marked the turning point in a war which the Pequots and their allies had been winning for 8 months. The war also had the goal of enslavement, as described in America's other original sin. So Gad was actually put in slavery. Stop thinking it was just Judah and Benjamin and Levi. People were enslaved. Gad and Reuben were enslaved, and other tribes. Right? And I had this quick thing I wanted to go into before I go back to that. This is American Indians as slaves. It says, when the subject of slavery and the Americas is discussed, many people assume that this is about the 13 million Africans, which are really the Jews, who were captured, enslaved, and transported to the Americas to work on the plantations. Yet the history of slavery in the Americas starts long before this. From the very beginning of European discovery of the American continents, Europeans were involved with slavery. Not African slaves, but American Indians. Now I want to jump down and get straight to the point. Let's see. I want to get straight to the point. Okay. By the year 675, there was a well-established trade in slaves in Europe, with the Frisians occupying a major role of slave merchants. About 750, the slave trade expanded. It was driven in part by the Islamic world, centered in Cairo, Damascus, Tunis, and Cordoba. The Muslims had a great need for labor, and thus there was a ready market for slaves. So a lot of you jakes who want to be in Islam, shame on you. This is your sub-Saharan slave trade. Right? This is Joel, the 3rd chapter. Some of these slaves came from Africa, and some of them from Europe. Because you have to remember, a lot of the Southern Kingdom was kicked out of Europe in the 13 and 1400s. Right? It reads, the Vikings soon became the major suppliers of slaves. So a lot of you jakes, that's your favorite team. Oh, the Vikings. A lot of you big up Thor. You like that Viking spirit. Hey, the Vikings had you in slavery. In the damn so-called late Middle Ages. The Vikings soon became the major supplier of slaves, and Viking wealth was built upon the slave trade. Look at that. It should be kept in mind that Spain at this time was an Islamic country and a major buyer of slaves. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs of Spain, Isabella and Ferdinand, unified Spain and drove out the Muslims. Right? Those are your Moors that was up in Spain. It reads, at the same time, Spanish ships began seeking out wealth in the Americas. The Spanish involvement in the American Indian slave trade started very early. On his second expedition to the Americas in 1493, check this out. Christopher Columbus enslaved over 500 Native Americans and sent them to Spain. So guess what? Gad went into slavery on ships too. Stop thinking Deuteronomy 28 and 68 is just for the so-called African American man. That applies to the Northern Kingdom as well. They were sent into slavery too. All right, let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Hosea 8. Right? Let's go to Hosea, the 8th chapter. So Gad was sent into slavery into Spain, Portugal, to other parts of Europe. Hosea 8 and 13. They sacrifice flesh for the sacrifices of mine offerings and eat it. This is Northern Kingdom. But the Lord accepted them not. Because Gad, and remember when Gad was over here, some was keeping the commandments, but a lot of them, they was going off. They were worshiping the great owl spirit, the great spirit of the bear, and they have had the god of fire, and they started going off. So that's why the Lord jacked them up and sent the so-called white man over here to destroy them. But that doesn't make the so-called white man innocent. It reads, but the Lord accepted them not. Now will he remember their iniquity. And the Most High remembered the sins of Gad and paid them back around the 1400s. That's why he sent Esau over there. Now will he remember their iniquity and visit their sins, they shall return to Egypt. What is Egypt? Slavery. Right? They were in slavery by the Assyrians centuries ago. But now the Most High getting up with them again. And now they have to go back to slavery. This time they will return to Egypt. Egypt just means slavery for the children of Israel. Rather it's Spain or America or wherever. Right?
I got a point after you.
Khan, you got it, King. I got one precept after you.
This is at this. I just found that was a spirit too. You trying to share my screen, Baba Kashar?
Yeah, can I bring this precept up real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right, this Hosea 7 and 16. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword for the rage of their tongue. And a lot of the Gadite chief princes and rulers, they fell by the sword of the so-called white man. You know, this shall be the derision in the land of Egypt. So they got to deal with it in captivity. The so-called white man was raised up to destroy them and in Babylon. And they were sent to Egypt, meaning another slavery, rather than Spain or other parts of Europe. Now I'm gonna pull up your screen. Give me 1 second. You don't have nothing up there.
Listen, it's folly.
Now, when you pull that up, let me get this precept real quick. This is Genesis chapter 49 and 16. So we're linking up actual history with the Bible, right? Genesis, it's like in chapter 49 and 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. So a troop did overcome Gad, right? The so-called white man's continental army, his militias, the Puritans, his Minutemen, his soldiers, and they overcame Gad. But what? But he, meaning the Gadites, the children of Israel, will overcome at the last. And they're going to have a final say-so. When the Most High put the spirit back on Gad, guess what, man? They're going to be damn peeling scalps back, stabbing, thrusting through, and all hell going to break loose. You know? And righteousness. Let's get another precept. Well, before I get that precept, I want to go back. Yardan, you got to show that on the screen. It's not pulling up for me to show.
I'm on the background on the other one. I'm about to switch it over.
Okay. All right, bear with us 1 second. All right, you should be able to be on there. All you gotta do is pull it up. You got it? You on mute. Okay, I see it. All right, so we about to pull this up for Yardan. Try to zoom in a little bit.
Is it can you read it?
Yeah, but can you make that left side a little bit smaller? It's like you where the screen is. It's hard to see.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little better. It's a little better.
All right. This is from a book called, this is also from the PDF, Bartolome de la Casa. All right, that's the wicked evil white man, so-called. It's folly. Satan. Salakia. You trying to say something real quick?
Yeah, I got you. So while Yardan's working on that, I want to pull this up real quick. Like I said, we got a lot of information we want to go into, man. All right, let me make sure this is showing. We got a lot we want to get into. So this is again from this article, American Indians as Slaves, right? From Native American Roots.net. If you want to check this out, it's from Native American Netroots.net. Right? Native American Netroots.net. And you can see a visual image of the so-called white man enslaving Gad and Reuben. So this is the next part of the article. In 1495, the Spanish, under the leadership of Columbus, rounded up 1,500 Arawak, then selected 500 to be exported to Spain as slaves, 500 to serve as slaves to the Spanish on the island, and the remaining Indians were released. Columbus proudly boasted to the Spanish monarchs about the slave potential and its economic benefits. Columbus captured and exported more Indian slaves, about 5,000, than any other individual. On the other hand, Spanish Queen Isabella opposed slavery and returned many slaves to the Caribbean. In addition to capturing the Indians as slaves, check this out. The Spanish also hunted the Indians for sport and slaughtered them for dog food. Columbus' legacy in Haiti is an example of 15th century genocide and slavery. And you can, like I said, we're not going to read this whole thing, but we encourage you to go more into this on your own and stop watching Sports Center all day and dive into this history. You know, the Lord said in Psalms, let's go to Psalms, chapter 77 and 5. So yes, Gad and Reuben, they were sent to slavery too. Right? They were sent to captivity under the hands of the so-called white man. This is Psalms chapter 77 and 5. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. So you have to consider the days of old and remember and recall what the Most High has done to us as a nation of people by using our enemy. To remember our sins and the cause of us being in captivity. And remember what Esau has done to us. And the Lord said, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. And Psalms chapter 137 and 7 on down. And the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Right? Psalm 77 and 6. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I commune with my own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. So your spirit has to make a diligent search and recall who your forefathers are, and recall why we don't celebrate wicked holidays, why we don't indulge in Thanksgiving, why we're not going to eat the turkey, we're not going to eat leftovers, we're not eat macaroni. Like I said, we're fasting that day. So you brothers and sisters, as a body of WF5, we're fasting, and you're more than welcome to join us on that fast. You don't have to eat the filth of the so-called white man, right? And eat that turkey. You understand? You're more than welcome to mourn and fast and pray for the Most High to return and deliver the elect. Now I'm gonna pull this up for you, Yaradan. You're on mute.
Again, this is a PDF. Let me scroll up. I'm gonna scroll up at the end, so nothing get jammed up, right? But nonetheless, this is from. Oh my goodness, Satan! It literally just disappeared. Wow.
Khan, you want to just read it off of there, or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up one more time. Bear with me.
All right. Khan.
All right, here we go.
So there should
Can
be
you
no
see it?
excuse, man. No, not yet, King. Right? There should be no excuse for you brothers and sisters who are sitting there saying, I don't know what Thanksgiving's about. I don't know what to do. Right? We're going into the slaughter of the Pequot tribe. They made a feast after every slaughter. They had men like Squanto. We're going to go into Squanto too. And the role that he played being a translator and a former slave. Right? But pull it up again. All right, there you go.
Gone. All right. And the Christians with their horses, swords,
Oh, Sluck, you got
pikes.
to repeat where you're reading from, King.
I'm starting at where it say and.
What article is that? A book?
This is the letters and the writings of Bartolome de la Casa. Rock at that.
What?
And the Christians with their horses and swords and pikes began to carry out massacres and strange cruelties against them. They attacked the towns and spared neither the children, nor aged, nor pregnant woman, nor woman in childbed. Right? And that sounds just like the curses in Deuteronomy 20th chapter, where they shoot neither spare neither the old or the young. All right. So again, they attacked the towns and spared neither children, nor aged, nor pregnant woman, nor woman in childbed. All right. Not only stabbing them and dismembering them, but by cutting them to pieces as if dealing with sheep in the slaughterhouse. All right. They laid bets as to who, with one stroke of the sword, could split a man in two, or could cut off his head or spill out his entrails with a single stroke of the pike. They took infants from their mother's breast, snatching them by the legs and pitching them head first against their crags, or snatched them by the arms and threw them in the rivers, roaring with laughter, and saying as the babies fell into the water, "Boil there, you offspring of the devil." So a lot of Israelites, a lot of these so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans, you get offended, you get upset that we bring out Psalms 137, right? And you say, well, that's not fair. Well, what did they do? This is what they did to us. This is Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day, it's like in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, meaning destroy it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art thou, it's like who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee, as thou hast served us. How did they reward us? How did they serve us? Right? What did they do to us? They took our babies and it's like they snatched our babies and dashed them to pieces on a stone and in the crags. That's why it says in verse 9, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. So what they did to us, we're going to do to them. All right. There's nothing new under the sun. Right. It all goes into the cycle. It's like into a cycle. All right. Let me bring out this other curse. It's like not another curse, but let me bring out Deuteronomy 28. Right. Just another precept to let you know that these so-called Native Americans are indeed Israelites. It shouldn't be a debate anymore. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. All right, this is exactly what we're reading. And spare neither the children, nor the aged, nor pregnant woman, nor woman in childbed. You can't make this stuff up. And I'm going to scroll up in case Jake saying, well, hold up. Where'd you get that from? This is Bartolome de la Casas, 1484 to 1566.
And he was actually there.
This is the title, From the Devastation of the Indians. It's like the Indies, Hispaniola.
And it's like real quick, that guy, he was actually there.
Yeah.
Read it, it says a Dominican missionary and prolific early Spanish historian, was a student of Latin and theology. So he if anybody is giving you an account, he saw it happen. You know?
That's right. So, this is a edifying read to know what happened to so-called Native Americans, the Gadites, you know. And guess what? Let me finish reading this real quick. Our infants they put to the sword along with their mothers and anyone else who happened to be nearby. They made some low-wide gallows on which the hanged victims' feet almost touched the ground, stringing up the victims in lots of 13 in memory of our Redeemer and his 12 apostles. Then set burning wood at their feet and thus burnt them alive. So that's what they did to us. And they did this stuff, best believe they did this on things, so-called Thanksgiving. All right. And they got the nerve to call us the devil.
You on mute.
God, that was it.
Okay, Con. So I believe I had Salaki. I want to bear with us 1 second. Bear with us. So I want to pull this up. Now, dealing with the Pequot Massacre. I want to pull this back up. Right? Because the Pequot Massacre is really your foundation for your thanks stealing and your thanks killing. So this is in 1637 near present-day Groton, Connecticut, over 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot tribe, and it wasn't that many, right? They say it was about 80 people that showed up. They wasn't invited; they just showed up to see what the hell was going on. And you had some coon Gadites there too. It says women and children over 14 were sold into slavery, and the rest were murdered. That's what happened, and the rest of the Pequot tribe was destroyed. That's your Thanksgiving. Everybody got destroyed and sold into slavery while the so-called white man ate, drank, and got married and got drunk and popped each other. And little girls that molested little Gadite little boys. That's what they did, man. And again, where's the Pequot tribe? Where are they at now? See that? So you got to go into this. That's the 1637 Pequot Massacre, the real story of the annual U.S. Thanksgiving. Indian land for sale. Hey, this guy, he didn't make this. What is this, a flyer? Pull that back up. An advertisement. I doubt this Gadite made this advertisement. Indian land for sale. Get a home of your own. Easy payments. This is absolute hypocrisy. Here you have the so-called white man telling other Edomites you can get a land of your own. Perfect title and possession within 30 days. Fine lands in the west. Irrigated, irrigable, grazing, agricultural, dry farming. Absolute madness. Now, they actually go into it. Like I said, we're not going to read this whole thing. We're going to sum it up. So, they came and they landed, and they had a brother named Squanto. He was sent to slavery earlier, right? So it says the story began in 1614 when a band of English explorers sailed home to England with a ship full of Patuxet Indians bound for slavery. They left behind smallpox, which virtually wiped out those who had escaped. By the time the Pilgrims arrived in Massachusetts Bay, they found only one surviving Indian, a man named Squanto, who had survived slavery in England and knew their language. He taught them how to grow corn and fish and negotiated a peace treaty between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag Nation. At the end of the first year, the Pilgrims held a great feast honoring Squanto and the Wampanoags. But as word spread in England about the paradise to be found in the New World, religious zealots called Puritans began arriving by the boatload. Finding no fences around the land, they considered it to be in the public domain. Joined by other British settlers, they seized land, meaning they stole it, captured strong young natives for slaves, and killing the rest. But the Pequot Nation had not agreed to the peace treaty Squanto had negotiated, and they fought back. The Pequot War was one of the bloodiest Indian wars fought. And that's how Thanksgiving started, with the slaughter of the Pequots. After they slaughtered the Pequots, they threw a feast. And you can go more into this on your own. And they burned the cities down. See that? The killings became more frenzied, with days of Thanksgiving feast being held after each successful massacre. So every time they would rape, rob, and murder and destroy a village, they would throw a feast. Stop listening to what you learned in the first grade. And this shows you exactly what the Gadite young woman said in the video. They came out and said, look, they used to do it all the time. Every time they would destroy a village, they would throw a feast. George Washington finally suggested that only one day of Thanksgiving per year be set aside for celebrating each and every massacre. See that? See that right there? And one of George Washington's favorite titles was the Village Destroyer. And he said, your founding father. A lot of you jakes, those are my founding fathers. I went to Mount Rushmore. George Washington said we need to celebrate it once a year for all of the murder that we have done. Later, Abraham Lincoln decreed Thanksgiving Day to be a legal national holiday during the Civil War. On the same day, he ordered troops to march against the starving Sioux in Minnesota. See that? See that right there? So again, like Yaradan said, man, we're justified in the spirit of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua to call this man the devil. Right? We're justified, man. You know? Because he is the damn devil. But what did the Mosai say at the end of the day? What did the Lord say? Let's go to the book of Colossians. Actually, go to Galatians, chapter 6 and 7. Right? Let's go to Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 7. It reads, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So yeah, you can mock the Most High, and on Thursday celebrate Thanksgiving if you want to. The Most High is going to kill you. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving, you're going to be destroyed because you're a friend of the world and an enemy of God. If you're eating that turkey and that mac and cheese and them yams and that sweet potato pie, and you have convinced yourself in your mind to eat it, you're going to be cut down. You might not be part of the elect. The Most High is not planning these last days. It's either separate or be destroyed.
That's right.
You have something, Yardan? Khan. But with that, we're going to bring out some closing precepts. Right? So you brothers, man, do not convince your family. Don't get seduced. Don't get enticed. And y'all done ask him, what is that article? Or to ask me, what was that article we had pulled up? That article.
The deficit. Mine or yours?
You can do yours now. Name the one we had.
The one I had was the devastation of the Indies, Hispaniola.
I was on Native American netroots.net, as well as Salaki, bear with me. Khan, that was pretty much it. We covered things earlier, mentioned them by name, but that was that. As well as what I read about the Pequot Massacre, that's from TLIO.org.uk. 1637 Pequot Massacre, the real story of the annual Thanksgiving. Right? You got any closing precepts, Yardan? Come.
This Revelation chapter 2, verse 4.
And we're fasting, somebody asked, we're fasting Wednesday sundown till Thursday sundown. As a body in WF5, but that's an invitation for brothers if you want to join that fast with us. Not feasting, but fasting.
Right.
Not mirth, but mourning. You got it, King.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 4. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou hast left thy first love. Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. All right, so in these last days, no matter how caught up with work, school, family, whatever else extracurricular you're doing, don't get caught up in all of that, right? We understand that you have certain duties to, you have to take care of, but don't let that consume you. You still have to repent. You still have to be there for your first love, all right? Which is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? All given to you from Yahweh Shemiah Shai. In other words, continue to read the word, continue to study, all right? Continue to pray, continue to give alms, continue to do all the works that the Lord told you that you need to do to be perfect before his eyes. All right.
Con. And I'm going to add to that. Revelation 22:12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. So you're in the last days, man. You have Iran boasting about how 9 of their soldiers died in battle against the United States. You just had the longest blood moon in over 580 years and centuries that just happened this past week. A blood moon yesterday, UFO sightings, and what was that? Somewhere, I believe it might have been South America. It was a UFO just sitting there spinning, man. Yeah. And everybody's baffled. And they took the military police out there, and the army was out there, and everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Well, we're going to tell you what's going on. You're living in the last days. You're living in the end of the world. And all hell is about to break loose. And if you get caught up, if you get weak on Thanksgiving, and you start trembling and shaking at the sound of food and plates on that day, then you're not going to make it. And laughter. You upstairs reading, all you hear is laughter and giggling, and you come down and you just get a damn plate. It's going to be lights out for you. The Most High is going to cut off a lot of people's lights, right? You're going to turn your lights off. You got it, King.
You thought she was coming down for water. Now you got a plate with Hawaiian bread, and then the mashed potatoes is touching the damn macaroni and cheese, and now you laughing. And how'd I get here? You're getting bewitched.
That's right. So you brothers stay strong on that day, man. Stay strong in the spirit of Yahweh Shemiah Shai, man. Most High willing you was edified. This has been Thanksgiving and the atrocities of the so-called white man. Giving our honor and all glory to Yahweh Shemiah Shai. We'll open up the call like we always do for about 60 minutes for those who have questions. That number is 213-603-9096, and that PIN number is 94809-305. Again, for brothers who have questions, right? That number is 213-603-9096. You should be able to see it on the live chat, on the comment board, and that PIN number is 94809-305. But with that, Brother Naquam,
Brother Yardan,
giving all honor again and all glory to Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Kwam Malak Yahushai, Kwam Yashal. Shalom.